UFC Nashville. These are the full card predictions and the betting breakdown. Main event, Cory Sandhagen versus Rob Font. I'm going to talk about each of the matchups on the card, so make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn the post notifications on and make sure to share the video as well. Also note, full card UFC Nashville Fight Companion going down Saturday live on the channel, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Don't miss that. And let's get into the fights. Starting it off, we have Ode Osbourne versus Asu Almabaev. I got to go with Ode Osbourne to win, and I know a lot of people that follow the channel consistently might be a bit surprised. I'm going against, an EV, which normally, the OVs, the EVs, these guys from that part of the world, being, the last two letters of their name, are very good in their grappling skills. I am not saying that Asu Almabaev is not good on the ground. I just feel like what I saw from digging into his Brave fights, not overly impressive. He'll impose his will fairly well, but doesn't have like this great jacked and stacked frame. He's 5'5". Stand-up game to me seems limited. Has good control and will be very patient with that control. Ode Osbourne is a long guy, 5'7", 72-inch reach, experienced veteran inside of the UFC, pretty athletic. I like his stand-up game in this fight. I think that he's going to be able to fend off Almabaev's takedown attempts. And even if Osbourne is down, I see him scrambling. He's pretty scrambly on the ground. Also note something. He's training with who? Aljamain Sterling, the UFC bantamweight champion, who's an amazing grappler heading into this fight here. Also, obviously, with Merab. You can actually see it on Aljamain Sterling's reaction to the UFC BMF title fight between Gaethje and Poirier. Ode Osbourne's hanging out with them. You dig in a little deeper, they're working out together on Instagram. So he's really working on the ground skills leading up to a fight against a guy who's a dominant wrestler for sure and has good grappling, but hasn't fought somebody with the Osbourne frame. Now, Osbourne maybe hasn't fought a wrestler to the caliber of Almabaev either, right? But Ode Osbourne is notably scrambly, defensively sound in takedown defense, like 72%, 73% on UFC stats. But overall, he does well when fighters are shooting on him, and he offers some threat in grappling as well. So if the gas tank can hold, he can fend off takedowns. I think he can work well in the stand-up and beat an Almabaev. Hard-fought 3-round decision. Ode Osbourne, the winner. And he's a dog in this fight here at plus 133. I'm going dog Osbourne. Almabaev is the minus 145 favorite. He's got a nice record, 17-2, but he hasn't fought that next level of competition yet. The biggest name you see 2 fights ago, Zach Makovsky, who was in the UFC. I believe he lost to Dustin Ortiz and then was released by the promotion. And it was a split decision, which a fight that was pretty back and forth. Got a win in his last fight. Granted, a guy 3-1. When you're looking at Osbourne, he's been in there with tons of experienced guys. And overall, he is getting some solid wins. So I got to go with Ode Osbourne to pull it off as an underdog here. I'm not sleeping on him against the debuting Almabaev. Next fight on the card, it's Jake Hadley versus Cody Durden. I'm picking Cody Durden to win this fight here. I honestly like his style in this matchup. Hadley's a pretty good boxer and brings a unique guard where he'll raise up his elbow and block shots. I don't know. It's not like Sean Strickland, but it kind of reminds me of Sean Strickland a little bit. I feel like Jake Hadley is a pretty competent and well-rounded guy, but Cody Durden has, I think, the pure, better wrestling skills and the chain wrestling style of attack. And then you mix in the fact that Cody Durden is not some one-dimensional wrestler. He's a pretty competent striker. Jake Hadley is good in the stand-up game. I definitely feel out of southpaw. He can land some solid punches here, especially with his digs to the body. But I expect Durden to threaten with overhands as Hadley's going low, as well as looking to wrestle. And even if he's not successful every time he's attempting takedowns here, Hadley has things to worry about. And then on the feet, Cody Durden can still box. He has hands. He has kicks from the outside. I think it's a 50-50 type of fight that Cody Durden can edge out on a very competitive decision. I'd say Hadley, being younger and having the slightly better boxing advantages for him. Durden, the better wrestler, and I think better guy from top and controlling. I got to ride with the side of Cody Durden in a super competitive fight, man. I think it's a real 50-50 fight. I'll say Durden on the cards. Minus 160 for Hadley. Durden plus 140. Durden's always a pretty good underdog. And I think he's going to come through here in a close back and forth with Jake Hadley. Like with Durden, too, I'll add to it. I mean, he's got a draw with Chris Gutierrez. He's fought against solid competition. Last fight out, he beat Charles Johnson. Hadley, a good prospect, but I just think Durden's more established, and this stylistic matchup favors him. Next fight, Billy Quarantillo versus Damon Jackson. I like this fight, man. I'm going to pick Billy Q to win in a pretty back and forth violent fight. Damon Jackson doesn't have a lot of sting in his punches, though he throws shots and he's a pretty durable dude who can come forward with pressure and also grapple. Billy Q, BJJ black belt, pretty competent on the floor. Damon Jackson, yes, can work control, but I don't think it's going to be easy for him in this matchup to just control a Billy Q. And then I take into consideration, I think Billy Q is better at mixing it up with his hands. I see it as a close competitive war between these two. I think it's like 3 damn competitive fights back to back to back. This one here, I think Billy Q takes it on a real competitive decision. I expect blood from both guys. Dangerous elbows inside from Damon Jackson, something to be worried about. But Billy Q is going to be firing big shots back. I think he's a little bit more athletic than Damon Jackson as well. Hard fought 3 rounds. I'll say Billy Q on the judges' scorecards. As far as the line for this one here, Billy Q's a favorite at minus 170. Damon Jackson, the plus 145 dog. I'm going Billy Q. Damn, it's a close fight. There's some scraps on this card. Both guys, too, looking to bounce back from knockout losses. Edson Barboza chinned Billy Q last time. And prior to that, Dan Ige, or not prior to that, before Damon Jackson, Dan Ige chinned him. So both guys, knockout losses. My little bit of concern is that Billy Q's was 3 months and a week ago. So that's a bit of a freaking red flag. But I do think he should win the fight. I think he's a bit better, he's a bit faster, and a bit more dangerous than Damon Jackson. So I am going to pick Billy Q to win. And I know Damon Jackson knocked out Pat Sabatini in like less than a minute. I know he's dangerous. He can pull it off. But the likelihood of him doing that to Billy Q, I just see is pretty damn low. I think Billy Q edges it. Next fight on the card is Jeremiah Wells versus Carlston Harris. I'm picking Jeremiah Wells to win by knockout here. I feel like Carlston Harris is a little too sloppy on the feet. He's a herky-jerky striker, man, and I think Jeremiah Wells can crack him with a big bomb, but it's not going to just be about the striking. Wells is the physically stronger guy, and I think the more efficient offensive wrestling favors Jeremiah Wells. Though on the ground, Carlston Harris does have good grappling skills, and he can take opponents' backs, control them there. He's dangerous with some submission threat. Jeremiah Wells is way more explosive and athletic. He has a clear punching power advantage. I also feel as though Carlston Harris on the feet, a little bit hittable with that herky-jerky stance. If Jeremiah Wells sits on a big shot, he can lay Harris out. And I know a lot of people are going to be, jumping all over the Carlston Harris dog train because Jeremiah Wells' last fight against Matthew Semmelsberger. Fighters can have off nights too. I don't think you should judge Jeremiah Wells off of his fight with Semmelsberger, which he still was able to win. I dig back. You look at the fight with Warley Alves, an experienced vet, in the debut for Jeremiah Wells. He looked like a killer. Knocking out Court McGee. He looked like a killer. I'm not writing Jeremiah Wells off with one bad fight, you can say, where he still was able to win, but he just didn't look as good. Carlston Harris obviously has done fairly well for himself in the UFC, beat Jared Gooden by a decision last time out. To me, it's not good enough to beat Gooden by a decision. When you're now faced up with Jeremiah Wells, I think he can put your lights out at any time. And Carlston Harris doesn't have, I think, the precise right hand like Semmelsberger did, which was kind of able to land on Wells, right? And note this with Harris, he's got a real slappy right hand. He's sloppier on the feet. And he's not going to have the wrestling to go to take Wells down. Wells can control where the fight goes. On the ground, Wells is a BJJ black belt. He might be better offensively than Harris. More strength, more punching power. It's Jeremiah Wells by KO. I like this matchup for him here. Wells is minus 146. Carlston Harris plus 126. Slight favorite. It's close money is Jeremiah Wells. It's a good fight. I think Wells is going to KO him. Damn excited for that one. Next fight on the card, Raoni Barcelos versus Kyler Phillips. I'm picking Kyler Phillips, and I think he can chin Barcelos. 36 years old, brutally knocked out last time against Umar Nurmagomedov. I know it's Umar. But at the end of the day, Kyler Phillips has some dangerous striking. You look at a recent loss for Kyler Phillips against Hadley Paiva. Any competent judge would have scored that fight a draw. So really, he should be 10-1-1 as a pro. Before the fight, that Kyler Phillips got a controversial loss in against Paiva. And he did a fuckload of damage to Paiva too. Look before that. He beat Song Yadong. That's a huge win. That shows the skill set level Kyler Phillips has. Also note something too. Before Kyler Phillips got into the UFC, who did he beat? It was Victor Henry. He defeated him. Victor Henry obviously pulled off a massive upset against Raoni Barcelos. Now, not using MMA math to justify the pick, I think Kyler Phillips is more slick on the feet. Being the younger guy, he'll be faster with a better gas tank. He'll have the durability. I don't think Barcelos is going to be able to body a Kyler Phillips, take him to the ground and control him. So he's going to be forced into a kickboxing match with somebody that he's at a clear-cut speed disadvantage with. And honestly, at 36, 135, come on, man. The losses are adding up. Valiev, it was a close fight. He still lost. The Henry fight, right? He beats Trevin Jones by decision, and then Umar flatlines him. Now coming out here against Kyler Phillips, I think that he might be getting flatlined again. Now, it's not like Barcelos, we can say he's completely washed. I don't think he is. In certain matchups, I like Barcelos. When Barcelos was scheduled to fight Miles Johns, that fight ended up getting canceled. I picked Barcelos to win. I just think Kyler Phillips has a pretty solid skill set, and he's somebody with a lot of potential that, because of the controversial loss to Paiva, I feel like the hype has really died down. I think that here he can build back, especially if he's able to find the knockout. He puts his punches together well. So I'm going to say Kyler Phillips by a KO in the second or third round. I like him to stop Barcelos, which would be a huge win. Even if it goes long, I can see Kyler Phillips outpointing him too. Minus 170 for Phillips, Barcelos plus 145. Really exciting fight because it's crossroads. It's Kyler Phillips building as the prospect. This can be a really signature win on his resume. Barcelos trying to hold on to being, a relative top contender, top 20. So I guess not really top contender, but upper echelon contender. I think that Kyler Phillips is putting him out. Damn good fight. Damn good fight. Let's jump to the main card. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash the like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. It's Ignacio Bahamondes versus Ľudovít Klein. I'm going to pick Ignacio Bahamondes to win. I like his length a lot in this fight here. He's got a reach advantage, but I'm less excited about the reach advantage. I'm more excited about the leg length advantage. 6'3" Ignacio Bahamondes, who's a pretty competent kicker, taking on the 5'7" Ľudovít Klein. Klein, a former featherweight, decided to jump up in weight and honestly look pretty solid. Even his draw with Jai Herbert, it's not the end of the world type of fight. It's one where at moments he was showing good skill, and when you dig back, he beat Mason Jones. That's an impressive win. He's an explosive striker for sure, but being at a long disadvantage in the height and reach, and then Ľudovít Klein kind of lost at featherweight to a guy with a bit of length, being Mike Trezano, and now I see Bahamondes with tremendous kicks, a prospect on the come up that I'm excited about. Watch out for all his kicks, but I think in this fight here, he's going to be attacking the Klein legs. I think he's going to be ripping him with body kicks, throwing straight punches. Klein is going to look to wrestle, I think, because Ľudovít Klein may feel that he is the physically stronger guy of the two. He's a powerful kickboxer, but I think in this fight he needs to try to use his physical strength edge. I don't think it's going to be easy for him to take down and control a 6'3" Bahamondes. So now we got a striking fight. I think that Bahamondes is going to be good from distance. Klein will close the gap and land some strikes at moments. I think that he's going to be in the fight. I think it's going long. We're going all three. I'm going Bahamondes to win a competitive decision. I think he pulls it off, but if you're betting the Bahamondes side, you might be sweating a little bit because Klein is going to be throwing heavy shots at him, and it's going to be competitive at moments, but Bahamondes should win the majority of the fight. I like the 3-fight win streak for Bahamondes now after losing to Makdessi by a split early on. For Klein, The draw was, a real stopper in the momentum, but he's only 28. 25 versus 28. Both guys improving. I think Bahamondes should beat him, though. I do think he pulls it off. I'm going to say decision. The Trey Ogden fight showed that Bahamondes can be a bit patient, and I think he's going to have to be a bit patient here against Klein. Sure, could he find a great counter-strike? Yeah. Likelihood of it, I'm going to say, is on the relatively lower side because Klein's pretty athletic, and he moves out of the way of shots fairly well. I just think Bahamondes does more and outpoints him. So 3 rounds down, I'm going Bahamondes wins it. Minus 210 for Ignacio Bahamondes. Klein plus 180 as the dog. I like Ignacio Bahamondes to win and get on a nice 4-fight win streak at 25. He's a Chilean prospect to watch, man. Next fight on the card, we got Tanner Boser versus Aleksa Camur. Aleksa's been out for a long while, man. He had a surgery on his left elbow. So that's something to note. I'm going to pick Tanner Boser to win this fight here. Camur is 6-2. And in his last fight, I know it's a split against Negumereanu. He's literally just sitting in the pocket at times, winging punches. Tanner Boser is a pretty competent striker. He has solid straights and he's hurt big guys at heavyweight. I know Camur hasn't been knocked out as a professional, but he also hasn't fought someone that's going to really throw straight down the line on him like a Tanner Boser will. And I think Boser can hurt him on the feet. Now, the youth advantage favoring Camur, he's 5 years younger. At light heavyweight, it doesn't really matter, but what I'm going to bring up as a point, right, is the Camur young chin can hold up from some big punches. So I wouldn't call Boser knocking him out a guarantee, but I am going to call Boser by knockout as the official prediction. I could see him winning a hard-fought 3 rounds, just doing more. He's a skilled kickboxer. I know he had a hiccup at his debut last time out, being for Tanner Boser. It was Cutelaba. Cutelaba is a much different threat than the lesser experience by a significant margin, Aleksa Camur. Camur is a tough dude, and he scraps, and he's got a fun style. But he lugs shots inside, and there's going to be punches coming from Boser that I don't know if the chin will hold up. And then I got to, take into account 2 years off. I know he's young, so 2 years off is not that big of a deal. Still ring rust. And now fighting Boser, I know maybe on paper you'd say no, but is this a step up? William Knight. I see Boser as the, more difficult fight. Negumereanu. Boser and Negumereanu would be an interesting matchup. Boser has a real chance to win. This could be a step up in competition, at least, experience-wise. You're going 8-1 fighter, 9-1 fighter. Now you're fighting a guy 20-10-1. Tanner Boser's been around. Yeah, he's lost. He's fumbled a few, but dig into it. Split decision. And he hurt the big man. Split decision against Latifi. Arlovsky lost at heavyweight. Knocked out OSP. Lost to Cutelaba quickly. It was one of those fights where he got caught cold and shit happens. He's going to beat Camur, and I think he can knock him out too. I'm going Tanner Boser. I believe in Boser at light heavyweight. I think he's going to be fast out there. Minus 175 for Boser. Camur plus 150. Give me Tanner Boser to win. I think he's going to knock Aleksa Camur out and get a little momentum building at 205. I really like this for him, and I think that it's going to pay off with a win here. Next fight on the card, we have Gavin Tucker versus Diego Lopes. Gavin Tucker hasn't fought since, holy shit, 2 years and 4 months ago when Ige just dropped him with 1 punch. I'm picking Diego Lopes to win. He just went to war and nearly defeated Movsar Evloev. You have to be hype on him as a prospect right now. He's also the Lobo Gym grappling coach. He throws heavy shots and starts really fast. Gavin Tucker was put out in 1 punch, 22 seconds in, against Dan Ige last time. That is what I said, 2 years, 4 months ago. He's also 37 years of age. When you pass a certain time in your 30s, a 2-year layoff, and I know he was dealing with some injuries, a 2-year layoff, getting badly knocked out, this is a recipe for disaster here. I think Diego Lopes is going to put a high pressure and pace on Tucker early in the fight, hurt him with punches, and I think he's going to lock up a submission. I'm going to go Diego Lopes by club and sub. I don't think Tucker's going to respond well to fast-starting Diego Lopes, and I think he's going to end up being finished off. So we're going Diego Lopes to beat Gavin Tucker. Yeah, That's what I'm seeing. I mean, I got to give Gavin Tucker a little credit here before I jump to the odds. He is a strong guy physically, pretty good in the grappling department. Southpaw stance, but you look at his last win, it was over 2 years, 7 months ago against the long-haired Billy Q at the time. No, I think Gavin Tucker is getting ran over here, coming in off a layoff. I'm going to go with Diego Lopes. It's a very close line. Diego Lopes actually opened as a slight underdog. -130 Lopes, +110 for Gavin Tucker. I'm going Diego Lopes to stop him early, club and sub, fast start. And the youth advantage, too, is massive. 37 as opposed to 28. That's something to talk about. There's a stat of like fighters 6+ years younger win. I believe 63% of the time. They put it on the broadcast last night for UFC 291. I'm going Diego Lopes to win. I think he's going to stop Gavin Tucker, who's been out for a while, coming off of a knockout loss, and I just think isn't going to deal well with the fast start. Next fight of the night is the featured bout. It's Dustin Jacoby versus Kennedy Nzechukwu. I'm going to pick Dustin Jacoby to win. I'll be honest, I sat on this fight for a while. I delayed the recording of this breakdown for a while, just digging even deeper into this fight, because I see it as a very interesting clash of styles. And Nzechukwu does a great job of pressuring, bullying opponents, but damn, he gets hit. He got hurt last time against Devin Clark. Dustin Jacoby is way slicker on the feet with his straight punches than Devin Clark, and he's not a guy that's easy to bully inside of the cage. He comes from, a lot of kickboxing fights. I know he first started MMA, then he got back into kickboxing, fought a shitload, fought in glory. He finds good straights. Note a common opponent that is interesting, right, was when Dustin Jacoby fought against Dawoon Jung, he knocked him out with just like perfect straight punches. I know Dawoon Jung finished Nzechukwu off with elbows. Now, not bringing up the MMA math here, but it's the fact that I'm saying Nzechukwu's chin is not unbreakable. You find a precise punch on it, it can do damage. And I think Jacoby is a guy that is not easy to bully in the cage. And Nzechukwu's going to have a hard time just pressing him, taking him down. I see Jacoby finding strikes in the open. And I think that we're going to get a Jacoby stoppage at some point. I think TKO or decision here. Hard fight, hard 3 rounds are very possible. But I'm thinking a later TKO. Jacoby can find the punch right on the chin of Nzechukwu, maybe even in the second round, and drop him. It could be earlier. I can't sleep on Dustin Jacoby after he lost to Azad Mirzakhanov, and then prior to that, he had a loss by controversial decision against Khalil Roundtree. I'm not going to sleep on Dustin Jacoby. Yes, Nzechukwu's got a nice little 3-fight win streak going, but none of those fighters had the precise kickboxing game and punching of a Dustin Jacoby. So give me Jacoby to win. I'm going to call TKO. I'm riding with him, but it's a 50-50. This is a fucking war. This is a fight, like I said, I took a long time to dig in, and still, I could see how Nzechukwu wins. So, competitive-ass fight. I'm going to go Dustin Jacoby by this much. +135 for Jacoby, -155 for Nzechukwu. Give me Dustin Jacoby to win it. It's a slight upset here, but at the end of the day, he's a very consistent performer, and I think he's going to beat the African Savage by TKO. Next fight on the card, co-main event of the evening. It's Jéssica Andrade versus Tatiana Suarez. I'm picking Tatiana Suarez. I think that Jéssica Andrade is done. Last fight, the way she fought against, I don't want to botch the name, Yan Xiaonan. The way she fought, it was 2 months ago. She was just swinging garbage and got chinned. It was like she gave up hope on really trying to implement a game plan, and instead, let me just blitz you with craziness and hope I land. And she got knocked the fuck out in that fight. Prior to that, she got ran over by Erin Blanchfield on short notice. She was throwing heat back at Erin Blanchfield, but was getting touched clean on the feet. Got submitted. I have Tatiana Suarez, who at 9-0 is somebody that newer fans might not have heard of, but she was the boogie woman. She fought Carla Esparza and absolutely annihilated her on the ground. Tatiana Suarez is a monster on not only getting fights to the mat, but what she does when she gets them there. I think that she's going to end up submitting Jéssica Andrade. She could rip heavy punches and pull off a TKO, but the sub is going to open up, man. I see control, I see ground and pound, and I see rear naked choke. She strangled the women's flyweight champ Aleksa Grasso some time ago, and I think she's going to strangle Jéssica Andrade. I'm going Suarez, win by sub, 10-0 as a pro now, and I think title shots on the horizon because she is the boogie woman of women's 115. She's got like Habib-esque control on the ground. Looking at the odds, these are correct. Minus 400 Suarez. I'm not surprised at all. She should be a big favorite. Plus 300 for Andrade. It's Suarez all day. Suarez minus 400. She's going to strangle her. She's going to beat her up a bit on the ground. Andrade is going to take an L here against an absolute monster grappler. I know Andrade hits hard, right? And maybe if she wasn't looking for ways out of fights as of recent, maybe there'd be more of an argument for her as a dog. But the way she's looked recently, and the fact is Tatiana Suarez has been waiting, dreaming of getting consistent with fighting again after dealing with some injuries. She came back against De La Rosa and looked dominant. She's going to look good here too. Suarez by submission. Main event of the evening. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. We got a catchweight fight at 140 between Cory Sandhagen and Rob Font. Rob Font jumping in on short notice to take on Cory after Umar Nurmagomedov, unfortunately, was unable to compete due to a shoulder dislocation. My pick in this fight is Cory Sandhagen. I dropped a news video over a week ago about it, and I picked Cory then. Nothing has changed. I think that Cory Sandhagen has a more versatile striking attack. Specifically, I see him ripping some low kicks. Rob Font, more of a boxing-dominant fighter. Very good jab, but he's going to be dealing with someone that can do more than just throw hands at you. Don't be surprised if Cory Sandhagen chooses to mix in a little wrestling. Not necessarily to take Rob Font down and submit him, but to now have him worrying about defending takedowns to set up even more dangerous strikes. Watch out for elbows inside by Cory Sandhagen. I expect it to be a pretty good 5 rounds. I know Rob Font is coming in on short notice, but I think that his toughness can keep him in this fight. He's never been a guy that wilted. He's not an easy person to put away. I think here with Sandhagen, Rob Font is going to be trying to box him up, close the gap. His legs are going to start getting picked apart. He's going to be getting touched from, the outside with shots, even though there's a little bit of a reach advantage for Rob Font. The, length of the legs and using the range, I think Cory Sandhagen is going to do just fine in this fight. He's the taller guy by 3 inches. And I really do think the tie clinch is going to be something to watch out for Sandhagen. I like him to win it. I don't think Rob Font is an easy guy to beat, but Cory Sandhagen by a decision is what I see here. You look at Rob Font's last one. He knocked out Yanez. It was super impressive because Yanez was that prospect on the come up. Before that, he lost to Chito Vera, but let's say something about that fight. He won a lot of the fight time. It's just massive moments by Chito Vera stole him the fight. And then obviously Jose Aldo beat him. It's Aldo. Sandhagen looking like he's turned the corner. Song Yadong win, and he was able to beat him up on the ground. And you know what? Takedowns are impossible here. He beat Marlon Vera. It's not a split. He beat Marlon Vera. And I think Cory Sandhagen is going to beat Rob Font too. Not an easy fight against Rob Font, though. I think, we can kind of just completely overlook Font, and maybe some people think he's going to go down easy. That's not what the Boston folk are about, man. I think Rob Font is going to bring heat. He was originally supposed to fight on the UFC Boston card, but Song Yadong was out, and then he took this awesome opportunity here against Sandhagen. I know he's coming in on a little short notice, a little less than a full camp, but I still think that he can go the 5. I'm going to pick Sandhagen to win by a decision. And even though the odds are wide, minus 275 Sandhagen, Font plus 235, I think it's a damn good fight. Sandhagen will win it, but Rob Font will still be competitive, and it'll be a pretty damn good back and forth. That is UFC Nashville. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. Make sure you all smash the likes if you haven't, and if you're new, subscribe. Turn those post notifications on. If you really enjoy the content, take them from personalized and put them on all so you do not miss a video. Let me know what you think of the picks in the comments below. I definitely want to hear your guys' takes, specifically on the main event. Do we got any Rob Font faith out there in the comments? Let me know for sure. And if you have nothing to say in those comments, but you just enjoy the content, as always, drop a W in the chat. Closing in on 20,000 subscribers. I just want to say thank you to everybody for constantly supporting, because you guys mean the world to me. Much love, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace, guys.